It's The Godfather meets The Sound of Music, but everyone's pirates. But there's no singing. The Pirate's Daughter is an immersive audio drama that tells the story of Stella. She's a young woman that was born a pirate, raised by the church, and is now forced to confront the father that abandoned her to a life of piety. Meanwhile, across the sea, a young upstart pirate lord, Captain Ratch, seeks to unite all that sail under a black flag into a nation of pirates, with himself as the king of thieves. I love telling stories, and as dark as this particular one gets, it can be hard to believe that it all started on the first day of kindergarten. I was driving my daughter to her first day of school, and she was so nervous. The more we talked about the teachers or the students and making new friends, the more anxious she became. And I was pretty nervous myself. I mean, as any parent can tell you, it can be kind of nerve-wracking dropping the kids off on that first day. So here we both are in the carpool line, and we're way too much in our own heads. And so, knowing that we needed a break, just a little bit of respite and escape, I did the only thing I know how to do. I told a story. Pirates have always been a source of fascination for me. In fact, earlier that year, the kids had actually got me a pirate hat for my birthday. And so as we're waiting in the carpool line, I began telling this legend of a world that then didn't have a name, but we ended up calling it Eversail. And it was filled with swashbuckling adventurers and mysterious sea witches. And every single day that we drove to school, we would add to the story. And at night, for bedtime, we would incorporate her sister. And it just grew and grew to the point where when we finally got to the end, it was 4 years later, and the kids had essentially grown up with the story, and my wife was begging me to write this down so it's not lost to time. The Pirate's Daughter is not the story I told my kids. It actually takes place a couple hundred years before that, and it's a good thing. It's not a story for children. It touches on some fairly heavy themes, such as identity, religious hypocrisy, institutional inequality, and the generational tensions that can exist on what to do about it. But at the heart of the story is this young woman who's been so defined by her trauma that she finds herself now lost in her 20s, not knowing who she is. I would love to sit down and just start writing this story. And in fact, I've tried on a couple occasions, but I'm a dyslexic, and we're not exactly known for our writing abilities. But I'm a firm believer that limitation breeds innovation. And while I don't know how to write, there is one thing I know how to do. Podcast. Podastery Studios has been a leading podcast company in the southeast of the United States for almost a decade now. So we've got a lot of experience in making really quality audio products. We also have this internal mantra, since the beginning of Podastery, which is finding people with stories to tell and giving them a platform to do so. Now, almost 10 years in, I have a story that I want to tell, and I'm hoping that you'll be willing to help build the platform to do so. We've got an amazing group of voice actors that we've recruited for this project. We've got an incredible writer who's been able to craft the world into words. And here at findeversail.com, you'll get a chance to see some of the folks that are working on this project right now, because the pilot episode is already underway. And for those of you that support us, you'll actually be the first to enter into this world of Eversail through The Pirate's Daughter. I kind of see this process as part product development and part artistry. This blending of the two. I would love to just take the pilot and bring it all the way to series, but this Kickstarter is our way of finding out if that's something that you want as well. Here at findeversail.com, you'll be able to see how we plan on using the resources, as well as find some cool perks for supporting us along the way. And since it's a Kickstarter campaign, if we don't hit our goal, no worries, you won't be charged. But first off, thank you so much for believing in us. And second, I kind of hope we make our goal. So join us, won't you? Set sail for adventure as we try to find this world of Eversail together.